Hello, good morning. So, in this summary video, I'm going to teach about the basic concepts of macroeconomics. Okay, so I'm Lavanya, I'm working as a business lecturer. So, in principles and applications of macroeconomics, the learning outcomes of today's session are I'm going to focus on what is economics, that is the meaning of economics. And I'm also going to teach what is macroeconomics and what is microeconomics. And we are also going to look into the concepts of law of demand and law of supply, the data of macroeconomics and macroeconomic variables. All right, so coming to the topic of meaning of economics. So as you're studying this module for the first time in your level 4, let me tell you what is the meaning of economics. Economics is the study of human action in an economic context. Economics is the study of economic exchanges. There are three central coordination problems any economy must solve, and that is what and how much to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce it. So to tell you in simple words, economics is basically like a big puzzle, where we try to understand how people can make their choices about what to buy, how much to work, and what to produce. And it's all about how societies use resources like money. Like there are a lot of resources, right? So it's all about studying how society is going to use the money, the time, the natural materials to make the things they need and that they want. Yeah. So let me just give some examples about what is economics and how economics is going to help you. Okay. So just imagine that you just have around 20 pounds with you to spend at a grocery store. So you decide. Now with that 20 pounds, you have to decide what food you want to buy with that money. So economics is going to help you to understand what you might choose to buy more of some things. For example, you might choose to buy more of the basic necessities like bread, milk, and you might decide to buy less of others like cookies. Okay, for example, based on your preferences and prices of these items. So, economics is something which is going to help you to make these choices or decision. Okay, that is in your personal life. Now let us take example of a business. Okay, for example, if you're running a coffee shop, yeah, so you have to decide how much to charge for a cup of coffee. Okay, so this is where economics is going to come into the picture, and economics is going to help you to understand how businesses can set prices. So when you're setting the price, you have to consider various factors, right? So economics is going to help you to understand how businesses can set prices based on factors like considering the cost of ingredients, the demand for coffee, and also taking into consideration what competitors are charging, okay, for the same cup of coffee. Yeah. So this is all about economics. So if you take from a government point of view, from the government perspective, governments also make decisions that affect the economy, right, that affect the country. For example, like setting taxes, providing subsidies to the society, and regulating certain industries. So, economics is going to help us understand how these policies have an impact on things like economic growth, income inequality, and consumer behavior. So, this is all about a brief introduction to you about what is economics and how economics is going to help you in the real world. Yeah. So, now let me move on to the next topic, and that is macro and microeconomics. So when we're talking about economics, we have two different types. So if you look at the slide, microeconomics is the study of how individuals make economic decisions in the society, and macroeconomics is the study of how the entire economy works. So, to put it in simple words, there's a very thin line of difference between micro and macroeconomics. So, micro means something which is small, right? So, when we are studying microeconomics, we are only going to look at how individuals are making economic decisions in a society. Okay, but when we're studying the macroeconomics, we are going to look at the entire country. Okay, so we are going to see how the entire economy works. It is how the entire country works. It's not just one individual. We are going to look at individuals, business, and government as a whole. Yeah, so that is the difference between micro and macro. It's a very thin line of difference, as I told you. Okay, so that's about microeconomics and macroeconomics. So the next important topic in today's class is, as I told you, I'm going to teach you about the law of demand and law of supply, which is very, very important in terms of economics. Yeah. So what do you understand from the term demand? The law of demand states that the quantity of a good demanded is inversely related to the goods price. Let me put it in simple words for you. So when we're talking about law of demand states that as the price of a good or a service decreases, the quantity demanded of that good or service all increases, and it's vice versa. So, to explain in easier terms for you, when the price of something goes down, okay, people tend to buy more of it. And when the price goes up, they buy less of it. Okay, that's basically a human psychology, right? So whenever there is a decrease in the price of any product or service, you obviously tend to buy more of those products. And whenever there is a increase in the price of a product or a service, you buy less of that product. So you basically know this, but in economics, this is known as law of demand. Okay, the reason being this relationship between the price and quantity demanded. Okay, so this has a, if you look at the graph of law of demand, this basically has a downward sloping demand curve. Okay, why is it called downward sloping demand curve? Because when the price of something goes down, people tend to buy more of it, right? So as the price of a good or service decreases, the quantity demanded of that good or service increases. So that's why it's called the law of demand has a downward sloping demand curve. Yeah, let me just give you an example. For example, if everybody watches movies, right? So yeah, so if the price of movie ticket decreases, obviously more people might decide to go to the movies, right? Conversely, if the price of a gasoline increases, people might choose to drive less and use more of public transport. Yeah, so that is an example for law of demand. Yeah, so you can see here, quantity demanded rises as price falls, quantity demanded falls as price rises. So this is what I explained you just now. Now let us look at the law of supply. Okay. So when we're talking about supply, the law of supply states that all other factors being equal, when the price of a good or service increases, the quantity of that good or service also increases, and vice versa. So, to explain in simpler terms, when the price of something goes up, that is, when the price of a product or a service increases, producers, that is the one who is selling the product, they are willing to supply more of it to the market because they can earn more, correct? So they know that the producers know that the price has increased, and they produce more and they sell more so that they can earn more money. And when the price goes down for a product or a service, they supply less. Okay, so that is known as law of supply. So let us just get the example. um, for example, if the price of wheat increases, farmers may decide to plant more wheat crops to take advantage of the higher prices, right? So, uh, conversely, if the price of smartphone decreases, then manufacturers might reduce production to avoid losses. Yeah, so that is all about law of supply. So, law of supply states that quantity supplied rises as price rises, and quantity supplied falls as price falls, as you can see here on the slide. Yeah, so that is all about law of demand and law of supply. So these were the important concepts in today's economics summary video. So I hope it is clear to you all. There are few more concepts in this slide. So you can refer this, you can download this PPT on Moodle from Macroeconomics week 1, and you can, further look at these concepts. If you have any doubts, you can come back and ask your lecturer during the live class. Thank you so much.